Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Well, hello there. Welcome to the program. I'm Lynn Cullen. Not a day goes by that things don't look worse. How you doing? It's Tuesday. It's the 22nd of November, and I'm thinking my sister Susan should be on the line. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Suze.
Hi.
How you doing?
Well, we have a new member in our family.
I heard something about a kitten.
We got a kitten.
Jeez. And what does Ernie think of that? Ernie being the
Ernie
beagle?
At first thought the little kitten was very cute. And
now he does.
Last night, he thinks that there's a scary creature living in his house, and he's very upset about it.
You know, cats invariably terrorize dogs. Kittens can terrorize a Great Dane. I mean, it's just classic.
It's a poor little guy. I feel sorry for him.
Well, Ernie is so easily traumatized, Susan.
Well, I know. I should have named him Bert Lahr, but I didn't.
Oh, poor little guy.
So.
So you think because kittens, you know, he's gonna get hurt by their claws and stuff. They're gonna take whacks at him.
Well, all this little thing is done, and I mean, this thing weighs 2.5 pounds.
Yeah.
All he's done is go.
Yeah, well, that's what he does.
The softest little, tiniest little hiss that a person my age can barely even hear.
Oh,
so,
God.
Anyway, it's okay.
What is this need you have to continually, complicate your existence?
It doesn't. It's not my need.
It's your daughter's?
Yes.
No. Okay.
Anyway, it's fine. It's fine, but it's, there's always something.
Well, I, for one, think animals are almost invariably a positive, even when they come with these little bit of, negative issues as well.
Well, the thing was that we were all doing fine, but then I swear at 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard my front door open and close. Both Ernie and I did, and we got up and looked around and couldn't figure it out and went upstairs and went back to sleep. And then at 3 o'clock, we heard the door open and close again. And at that point, my daughter texted me to say that she and the cat had gone to the emergency room overnight, and the little kitty's now on antibiotics. So, thusly, I slept too late and didn't get to read about how Trump admits that his foundation was self-dealing and how he's not going to go after Hillary or any of this stuff.
Well, what are you reading? He said he's not going to. Are these coming out in tweets or what?
I don't know.
I think.
Probably. I don't know how he's announcing this stuff, but for example, he's not allowed to announce that he isn't going after Hillary because
he can't go after. It's not the president.
He's not the guy that makes the decision. It's the Justice Department, the Attorney General.
I know. It suggests he doesn't have a clue what presidential powers are.
Well, he doesn't have.
No, he does not have a clue. Well, fine. So he's not going to go after Hillary. We'll see.
And I don't know what. So, what do you do when your president says in 2015 filing to the IRS. Oops, absolutely, we did everything wrong. We self-dealt.
So I didn't see this, that he has admitted that the foundation was breaking every law.
Every rule there is. Right?
Yeah, every rule there is. So what? Oh, God. He will, on day one, be the most corrupt president we have ever had. I mean, there's not, and you know what? He's taking over from the squeakiest, cleanest.
Right.
And this is what America wants. They'd rather have a white crook than a dignified black man.
White male crook.
White male crook. I'm
any woman, then any person of color, then that's it.
Right. So, you did see the screenshot from CNN, didn't you?
What's the?
Oh man,
CNN?
I sent it to our brother, and he accused me of, and then I phoned him just to find out how his dog was and some other stuff, and he ended up telling me that thanks a lot, I gotta get off, I gotta go meet with some students, oh God, now I'm a wreck. And that's sort of how you react to conversations with me too.
Well, just tell what was the screenshot?
The screenshot. It said on the bottom of the screen. Well, it was something, and then it's the last 3 or 4 words that really jump out of the television screen. It's the usual shot of 3 yappers talking on the CNN set, and the chyron underneath, the banner underneath, said, "Are Jews people?" I think. Yeah. Well, you see, it ruined your day too, then, huh?
Well, no, it's funny because, the one thing that I have done this morning is walked my dog. And here was what was going through my mind as I was walking my dog. If they come for me, I'm not going quietly.
You were thinking that when you're walking your dog?
I'm getting a gun. I'm this ain't happening twice to Jews. If they come for me, I'm squawking. And then I was thinking, really, can I imagine Americans coming after other Americans?
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, and then that's exactly what I was thinking.
No, we are in, guys, it's like you're living through a textbook example of how you take a democratic republic and turn it into a fascist autocratic state. I'll find the exact screenshot. It's mind-boggling. It's just mind-boggling. But it did say that, essentially, our Jews... Here it is. The full thing is alt-right founder questions if Jews are people.
What, this is Bannon?
No, this is Spencer, the guy who...
that's Spencer. Did you hear his thing?
Yes.
He's saying hail, like hail.
Like it ain't Heil, right. Heil victory, Heil Trump, Heil, and they're all heiling together.
With a straight arm.
And he, during that speech, is the one who did say, and I talked about it on the show yesterday, he did, I'll get the exact quote. In that speech, that guy said, after he called us creatures, he said, one wonders if these people are people at all. He's talking about us.
Great. Well, I heard him on NPR the other day.
Yeah, I did too. Smooth, huh?
And she was trying to, the woman that was interviewing him was trying to press him on things, and it just didn't.
No, he's smooth. He's got a PhD, he dropped out of Duke while he was getting a PhD at Duke. He's no idiot, but he's a fascist.
I'm just telling you, don't say alt-right.
I never will. I don't.
Don't.
I do it if I'm quoting something.
Anytime someone says that to me, I go, sorry, stop prettifying what this is.
It's fascist.
these are white nationalists, these are white...
I don't even want to say white nationalists because people don't even know what that means. I think you just say they're fascists or Nazis because that's what it is.
Right.
Questioning
Whatever.
whether Jews are human.
Anytime a newspaper says it, I think we should write in or call in and complain and say, stop prettifying this.
And then what they're doing, Susan, is they're having people like this Spencer, like NPR did, CBS did. He'll be all over the news, as are others, and they're normalizing them. So where you used to have guests on CNN, MSNBC that, you didn't agree with them, they weren't fascists and Nazis. And now they're on these shows. It's called normalizing the unthinkable. Our media are not, they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue what to do. And the fact that they got, called into the principal's office yesterday, show up at Trump Tower, and he just rips them limb from limb, apparently. They all signed a contract, signed something saying that they would not disclose anything that happened in the meeting. And yet...
but that's their job.
He did. He disclosed, and he went after people by name. So they're sitting around the table, all the news anchors, all the big presidents and CEOs. They're all sitting around, and he goes after them. He just goes after him. He actually said to the Zucker at CNN, he said, "I hate your network. I hate your this and that." He just was, you're liars. You're a bunch of liars. And he moves down the line, on and on and on. And those people sat there. Why did they not get up and walk out?
Tear up the paper and walk out.
We have this craven press, and not all. There's some, there's going to be a lot of profiles in courage, but they will be in the... in
Mother Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be Mother Jones. Or it'll be, some reporters on the Times or the Post or CNN. There might be, there's people here and there. It's incredible. It's just incredible. He, as I've been saying, he lifted up the rocks that these despicable vermin were living under for years and years and years, and he's let them out. And they are exultant. You start learning who you can start trusting to be, to have the right character now. The character is everything now. Who are the people who I can trust? And there is a guy who has a column in the Wall Street Journal named Bret Stephens, who I do not agree with on economic issues or much of anything else. But he is so appalled, unlike others on his editorial board, by what he's seeing. And what he sees Trump and Bannon as, like they would, Juan Perón is what they want to see. That's their kind of idea, right?
Right.
A nationalistic, fascistic, kind of a autocratic regime. But Stevens today ends his column with this. And anybody who's been listening to this podcast for the last year knows I have found that William Butler Yeats, The Second Coming, is the poetry of this time, because I suppose we all have it memorized now. And here's how he ends his piece. In The Second Coming, Yeats asked, "What rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born?" And then he answers, "The answer, it may yet turn out, is the likes of Steve Bannon and his ugly litter of neo-nationalists. Read fascists. Okay, that's the Wall Street Journal. Even the New York Post today, Susan, who obviously are in bed with Trump, printed an editorial in which they told him, as the Wall Street Journal has already told him, that this commingling of his business and his presidential duties is absolutely beyond the pale. And the New York Post today told him he's got to liquidate. He won't. He's even if the Post is telling him. I mean,
he just keeps saying it's going to be a blind. I mean, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's not a blind trust if you know what you own.
No, and there's already so many indications of how he is commingling, of how.
Like the diplomats at his hotel?
Like the Indian diplomats who came calling, like the shout-out to the diplomatic community to stay at his hotel in Washington. You know, where that one?
Like his daughter sitting in on meetings and then peddling
her jewelry and what. This is... Remember how outraged everybody talked about, the Clintons cashing in? The Clintons are... This is nothing what they did compared to what we are about to see. He sees this, and we had an emailer yesterday who said he just sees this as another and the biggest of his acquisitions.
Right, he's just
the United States government.
Power on the United States.
That's right. The United States government is now his latest acquisition. Thank you, and he's going to run it like that. It's my anger at people who voted for him is
increasing and increasing.
It's just increasing. I just can't.
Because I don't know how you forgiving all of that to vote for him. Where do you get to the place where you say, I don't care that he is a self-dealing crook. I don't care that he is hobnobbing with Nazis. I don't care that he is demonizing whole segments of our society.
And terrorizing them.
Any of that, because he's a good businessman.
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying? Because he's why? I don't understand how you say, I forgive all that because he's going to be good for me. Well,
isn't that interesting? Because they're wrong. He's not going to be good for them. He's going to hurt them. Let me give just one example. As you know, Obama, because he had this recalcitrant Republican Congress to deal with, the only way he could get anything moving was by executive order when that was kosher. And so there was a recent executive order, you might recall, that and it didn't get a lot of play, although it sure as hell should have, because it was a new overtime rule. And what it did is it told companies that were stiffing their employees by giving them a salary as opposed to an hourly. You know what? I remember seeing it happen when I worked at WTA television. The first time I saw
managers would make more than hourly workers because they didn't get overtime.
Well, what would happen is there'd be some working stiff, like a assistant producer or something, making an hourly wage and getting overtime, and then you'd see them one day and they had this huge smile on their face and they had been promoted. And they'd been promoted to, like, producer or something. And it was a supervisory position. So now they didn't have to turn in time cards. They were a salaried employee. And guess what?
They lost a ton of money.
They didn't get any overtime, right? They lost money. I saw it happen over and over.
Recent, though, that executive decision was a long time ago.
No. I don't think so. An overtime rule it required companies to pay time and a half to workers, and he upped it anybody making less than $47,000 a year.
You can't just change their title and pretend like...
That's right. You have to give them overtime. You have to give them overtime. And guess what? It's one of the first things they're going to repeal. Now, understand that we know Trump's voters, and the majority of them, well, not the majority, 41% of Trump's voters make less than $50,000 a year. So these are people who saw an increase just recently, Susan, I think, just recently in their income by this change in the overtime rules, and it's going to be repealed the minute he takes office. So the people who voted for him are going to immediately take a hit.
Well, but we know this. I mean, this is what I was saying last week. The factory workers who voted for him to keep their plant in town, well, the plant's not going to be in town.
Right.
You know, they aren't going to get their way. The people that the people that thought that they were going to see their hourly wages go up, I can't imagine how they thought that, but they aren't. So all of these people that voted for, you know, getting their lives better are going to be the very people that are going to get, you know, they're going to feel like all the women in this world with all those boots standing on their heads telling us to go back where we came from. That's what's going to happen to the lower middle class workers.
Okay, so I just saw this. The overtime rule, Susan, was recent, and in fact has not even gone into effect. Guess when it goes into effect? December 1st. So next week. It'll go into effect next week, and people will see, for some reason, most of them won't even know what happened. They'll see a bigger paycheck than they're used to getting, and they'll say, what the hell is this? And they might get maybe 2 more like that, 2, 3 more like that. And then it's going to go right back to where it used to be. So they don't know yet. They haven't seen the increase yet. They're going to see it next month. And then January, President Trump comes in. So
the way he told Obama to hands off international affairs, that's his now.
What?
Oh yeah, that was a few days ago. He told Obama that he had no right to be messing around in foreign policy anymore. That it was his now. And I'm thinking, no, it's not yours now. He's the president. You aren't.
Oh dear God in heaven! All right. So,
you know, I think that it's the first time in my whole life that I really do want to have a gun.
Yeah.
And I think I need it for protection, just like those other people have been saying for years, from my government.
You know, yeah, now I feel like I want it from my government.
Yeah. Protection from my government.
That is true. Susan, another Susan, has emailed. It's a wonderful way of not using alt-right, but I'm not going to do it because she says it's not alt-right, it's alt-Reich.
Right.
There it is.
Yeah, well, I'll say that.
The alt-Reich.
Alt-Reich.
I spent 3 hours yesterday until my shoulders gave way. I started getting a really stiff neck, stuffing envelopes for Planned Parenthood that are going out, asking people to please support us now as never before. And I was sitting around a table with 3 young women who were doing it and one 80-year-old woman who was doing it. And she said how she was thinking that she was taking, like you're walking your dog and you're thinking things you never in a million years would have thought before. She said the other day she was walking and thinking, I would shelter like, and so-called illegal alien in my house. I would give them shelter, and I will do that, she was thinking. If it comes to that, I will take them in. And the longer she walked, the more she started getting nervous. And she said, you know what? I don't know that I would. So she was already wrestling with herself about her fear of maybe ending up on the wrong side of the law. And I thought, wow, she's trying to see if she could do the unthinkable, which is put herself at risk to save somebody, to help somebody that, in fact, she was not related to or whatever, who was running from the government. Would she have the courage to do that? People are thinking about these things now.
Yep.
This is where we've gotten ourselves to. And when, one wonders if these people are people at all. Incredible. And to any Jews who voted for him. And I know them. I know some.
I do too.
Un-effin' believable. Un-effin' believable. Be first in line for the gas chambers, guys. Fuckers. Okay. Can I do an obit just to cheer us up?
Sure. Who escaped from this?
Well, this is what's so wonderful. I think he did.
It's like a celebration. Oh, boy, you don't have to go through this.
No, and I think he did because his name was Leon Billings, and he was the chief architect of a piece of legislation, congressional legislation in 1970. We know it as the Clean Air Act. And it is about to be decimated as well by this Republican regime that has been swept into power. The chief architect of the Clean Air Act. And let me remind you of how different the people we were in 1970, even though what? Richard Nixon was president, I think. Yeah, Richard Nixon was president. And he created the Environmental Protection Agency. That was a Republican. And the legislation for the Clean Air Act passed the U.S. Senate unanimously. Can you imagine? What has happened to us? What the hell has happened to us? So listen to this guy. What a wondrous being he was. Leon Billings. So he was born, I guess, near Billings, Montana, which is weird.
Well, maybe it was Billings is named after his family, didn't it?
Well, I don't know. It says his parents, listen to this, it doesn't sound like, his parents were editors of an alternative weekly newspaper in Helena. It was called The People's Voice. And he said, my folks had one rule. Anybody's welcome at the house as long as they bring their own whiskey. His father was a firebrand, and above his weekly column in his newspaper was a quotation. This is it. The hottest place in hell is reserved for those who, in a time of moral crisis, refuse to take a stand. Yep. There you go. Sort of like now, which is why I'm now measuring people in in a different way than I used to do. So this poor guy, he lived long enough to see Trump and these idiots sweep in, and then he just stroked out while visiting his grandson. He was just 78 years old. Here's what he said. This is the way people used to be in our... He says the Clean Air Act was probably the most radical statute ever enacted in my time. We were in a full-scale war between protecting the public health and welfare from environmental degradation and the profit motives of corporate America. And that guy put a piece of legislation together that passed the U.S. Senate unanimously in the Nixon administration. I'm just saying, what has become of us? I love this. Suze, he had to sit in a meeting with some guys from General Motors. And,
no, he can't.
Huh?
He can't.
No, I'm saying he did.
Okay, but I'm saying he can't sit for that long. But go ahead.
Why don't I understand what you said?
Because the man has a 5-second attention span. Go ahead.
No. I'm talking about Billings.
Oh, Billings. Okay.
He was sitting in this meeting with some General Motors executives who were droning on about how, they cared about the environment and their cars weren't doing anything bad to it. And while they're talking, he had their talking points on, paper in front of him. He kept folding the talking points into paper airplanes.
And throwing.
I love this guy, Leon Billings. He couldn't take it. He checked out. God bless you, Leon.
Well, we got to stay and fight.
Oh, yeah. Hey, speaking of staying and fighting, draw your attention northward to North Dakota and to the pipeline demonstration.
Yeah.
Did you see what those sons of bitches up there in the state sheriff or whatever, whoever the people are who are taking on these protesters? It was 23 degrees 2 nights ago. And they're spraying them with water cannons.
Well, okay, I'm sorry, but that's just flat out illegal.
Well, I don't know. Those are the police. You mean the police are illegal?
Well, you can't.
You can't?
Well, I suppose you can, but God Almighty.
Listen, the county sheriff there said had to do it because he characterized the demonstration as, quote, an ongoing riot. What?
But they aren't rioting.
No! They're doing what Americans by rights can do. They're protesting. We have a call. Hello, caller.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Sue. I haven't talked to you in probably a year or two, but this is, I don't know if you remember me, the union guy that works with all these Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of saw this coming.
I bet.
It's pretty weird. Like on that Wednesday, I didn't really hear anybody gloating, but people were careful because I get on them right away about the way we should politically vote and act and feel, and how people actually do. I bring up discrepancies to people, and they kind of keep their mouths shut around me. But I think a lot of people were gloating about it, and the thing that's scary is these guys say things like, "I'm sick and tired of welfare queens living off my money and driving Cadillacs."
Yeah, they still buy that. Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm a union worker, and we work on prevailing wage jobs, which is the biggest welfare going.
yeah.
Do you guys know what prevailing wage is?
That in order for a contract has to guarantee that the workers will be paid the prevailing wage for that area.
Right.
You can't be paid underneath what is considered the prevailing wage.
Right, and that kind of...
And that's a federal rule?
Yes, and I've been researching a lot about it recently. It's federal guidelines, but they're enforced by the state. The prevailing wage officer comes out, and it says Pennsylvania on his badge for Pennsylvania prevailing wage officer. I haven't seen him in 20 years, but I know he's out there.
But you're saying without that kind of intervention, you guys would not be getting paid anywhere near as much in all likelihood, often, And that's a form of government welfare, right? Seeing to your welfare.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Well, they don't recognize that.
it's just it's so bizarre. I mean, it's even hard to talk.
I know. We're living in uncharted waters for us, and I mean, I just think that we have to stay so vigilant. These are scary times.
The one thing that well, I'd like to throw this in there real quick too. My girl kids go to Kappa down there, right? So when they had that Trump rally, they came home and they were really upset. Those Trump supporters they set up booths to bomb the shit out of them T-shirts right in front of Kappa. They said there were 5 stands there. They were walking around brandishing weapons, knocking on the windows of the school. When my daughter walked up, she said that she's like 14 at the time or 15. She witnessed old white guy yelling at a 8th grade black girl, calling her a welfare bum and quit stealing his money and all this other stuff.
Well,
And
the haters have been let loose by Trump.
yeah, it's pretty depressing. But I still, for some strange reason, I don't know what it is. I'm feeling a lot of hope because, I'm putting more energy into my kids and doing stuff with them and whatever. If we have some stuff around the house, I'm getting involved in it. We talk about all kinds of things, politics and everything. So that's a hopeful part of it.
So you're hopeful the younger people will save us or live to tell the tale. Hey, thank you so much for your call. I appreciate.
So long, y'all. Bye.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, it's actually what I told our mother when she was so despondent, and I said, "Mom, just for a while here, you're going to have to live your life in microcosm and look at all the things you have right now that you can be grateful for, so you don't concentrate on the big picture, which makes you want to die." And I think a lot of people feel that way. But we've got to concentrate on what feeds us in order to have
The energy, right, to take
and the energy
right
to keep resisting. We just have to loudly and vocally resist for, hopefully just 4 years.
No, I absolutely agree. Absolutely
and not
agree.
let anything pass. I mean, just
nothing.
He thinks that he can tell us to shut up. He can't.
He thinks
that he can tell newspapers that what they can and can't print. He can't. And if the ones on the television, if they're going to roll, other ones will pop up and not roll. I guarantee it. And we will resist this.
Well, I have been telling people, including our brother before he hung up on me last night, that I consider myself now a member of the resistance.
I consider myself a member of the resistance, too.
Right.
And I refuse to go underground.
Yeah.
I am openly and loudly a member of the resistance.
Exactly. So, actually, you said for the next 4 years, and Bree has reminded us that Trump, in a tweet yesterday, I guess, or today, it was this morning, he tweeted this: Great meetings will take place today at Trump Tower concerning the formation of the people who will run our government for the next 8 years.
Yeah, right. Did you see that he is? I mean, here's what we're doing, and I find this scarier than anything. He puts out these videos now.
Yeah, he is not
reading carefully
right.
scripted things.
That's right.
Which just proves to you that he is somebody's puppet.
Right.
Because
Bannon. Hello,
he can't
Bannon.
do this. So, I mean,
he has not had a news conference.
Guy only on tape. Read puppet. Read. I don't have the ability to stand up in front of you and tell you what I think without making terrible mistakes. So they won't let me. And I think American people should be very concerned to know exactly who they are. I mean, you and I think we know who they are, but
yeah.
he just got himself elected, we all know, without any intention of actually doing the job. No. And so we don't know who the president is, and and there is none of the transparency in government that is supposed to be there. And we're all supposed to just lay down and say nothing. And I think we should be loudly screaming, "Stop with the video! Stand in front of us like a man, like a man with a little courage, and let us see who you are and see what you think, and do it all by yourself, because that's the job that you got elected. Not all of these terrible people. You got elected. So let's see what you can do, Mr. Trump."
Exactly. He is there's never been a president-elect who has disappeared like he has.
Locked himself in his bedroom. He's afraid to come out.
Well, no, he shows up for these photo ops where the contestants, where he greets contestants who are coming in to. I wonder if we'll find out like who's the Secretary of State. He'll have all the potential contestants there, and then he'll give the winner a rose.
No, they are confusing your reality shows, dear.
I don't watch him. Isn't that like The Bachelor or something?
That's The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, right? He was just. It's what he would do is tell all the ones but the winner that they were fired.
Yeah. Well, this whole thing is now a reality show, and it's being run that way. These guys are master propagandists and manipulators of social media. A lot's been.
I want the impeachment proceedings to start right now. The guy has already admitted to several illegal acts before he's taken office. He settled a $25 million fraud case because he's innocent. He's admitted to the IRS that, oops, he did everything wrong because he did. Just flat out wrong. Not allowed. Illegal.
Yeah. He's.
Why aren't we chanting lock 'em up? Chanting lock 'em up. Honestly, let's just get the throngs together and stand out in front of Trump Tower screaming lock 'em up.
No, he should not be given a moment's rest.
A moment's peace.
No.
There should not be a day without demonstrators out in front.
I agree.
Not one day.
I agree. So, Susan, we got a call, and I wasn't able to finish these people, these protesters, peaceful demonstrators being hosed down at 23-degree temperatures. And listen to this. 200 people were injured. 12 people were hospitalized for head injuries. One protester went into cardiac arrest and was revived by a medical team. Many of the injuries were attributed to rubber bullets, pepper spray, and shrapnel from concussion grenades. This is in addition to signs of hypothermia from the water being sprayed on them. Can you imagine? And did you see this on the news?
No. But they should. I would sue.
Well,
you are peacefully protesting. They have no right to hurt you.
Well, this is why I keep telling everybody, join the ACLU, because it's the ACLU who's going to be taking all these cases. Who are people going to turn to?
Well, the state of New York actually has set up a fund, to start defending the people that the federal government is coming after.
Here's another thing Trump doesn't understand. What is one of the unusual things about our government, and this again is a foundational principle, and that is that our military is headed by civilians. Our military, the commander-in-chief, is not wearing a uniform. It is the President of the United States. And start thinking of all the defense secretaries you have known in your lifetime. Not one of them was military. They might have been veterans, but they were civilians. Already, Trump, who made a big deal, right, about saying, I know more than the generals. The only people he's turning to
are the generals.
Are generals. And it runs
and a fruitcake general to boot.
Yeah. It runs absolutely counter to the establishing principle of civilian control of the military, to keep the military from becoming politicized and too militaristic, having political power. Here is a political science professor at Duke who was in the George W. Bush administration. The President and the Secretary of Defense are the two leading figures in the chain of command. When they are civilians, as they have been, that embodies the principle. He's sticking. The person who's going to end up being our defense secretary will be a general, in all likelihood. That has not happened since right after World War II, when I think George Marshall was. Militaristic, and when you have generals in charge of national security, CIA, all of these kinds of Homeland Security, Defense Department, what do generals know? They know how to make war.
Well, it's like the advice about be careful when you go see a surgeon, because what they know is how to cut.
How to cut you.
They don't know how to say, let's try something else.
That's right. That's right. Why would you go to a surgeon if you were hoping not to have surgery? Okay. So, you know what, Suze?
What?
Let's take a little bit of a break. I'm going to tell people how they can get help.
Okay, I got an idea what you're going to do. Me, I'm going to go take a Valium.
Okay, I've got a call coming in because that's just the way it works when I'm about to talk about Dr. Stiles. Susan's medicating herself. Dr. Stiles would suggest instead of popping pills, hypnosis can be used. No. Hypnosis can be used for pain control. Hypnosis can be used for insomnia. Hypnosis can be used for anxiety, Susan, and stress. Athletes turn to hypnotists for, to enhance their performance. It can help you with headaches, tension headaches, stuff like that. People go to Dr. Stiles for all of those kinds of things. And it works. I have a funny story I'll tell you someday about me being, I have told you in the past, but I'm not going to get into it now, me being hypnotized before I went to do a pilot for a show with an ESPN anchor and me, and somebody, it was Tribune Broadcasting, had this idea for a show with the two of us. And we were going to do I was such a wreck about it, thinking, I'll have dry mouth. I'll be so nervous. I won't be able to be myself. I'm just not going to be able to do it. So I got hypnotized before the audition. And when I'm doing the audition, the producer comes running down from the control room, interrupts it, and says, Lynn, I don't know what's happening, but I need some more energy from you. I need more energy. You're so relaxed. Come on, we need some energy. It had worked so well, I was not you. Isn't that funny? I love it.
Agitation,
no, hypnosis is so incredible. So Dr. Stiles didn't do that one, although, the guy who did it did exactly what I wanted him to do. I was so chill when I walked into that. It was like, there was not an ounce of stress in me, which I guess turned out not to be good. So, whatever. Dr. Stiles, you want to quit smoking, you want to lose weight, you want to be less anxious, you want to know how to relax, you want to have, he's got all this bag of tricks he knows. I'm telling you. I've been to him twice. He's good. Let me give you his phone number. Seriously. Just try it. 724-656-0454. 724-656-0454. That's Dr. Stiles. Susan, the other thing we could talk about, just to get away from this, is menstrual cups. Oh, you don't want to? Okay, let's take a call.
Oh.
Hello?
Hello, Lynn. Hello, Susan.
Hello.
This is John, and I've been thinking about it. You know, when 2018 rolls around, the Democrats will be facing a rather daunting math in the Senate, but given the historical trends of the party in power losing seats in midterms, and also given what I believe will be the absolute horror show unfolding in the next 2 years, I think Democrats can have a shot at retaking the Senate and making gains in the House. And what I want them to promise...
I don't think so. I just want to, I know you are by nature sort of a depressive, and here you are suggesting you have some hope, and I'm about to jump on it.
Well, I said a shot.
Well, the seat, it's mostly Democratic senators that are...
yeah.
And they are in a lot of states that went red for Trump. I think we might even see Republicans pick up seats in the Senate in 2 years. But we'll see, right? We'll see.
I'm going to be more hopeful than that. I think people are going to be so horrified.
Well, these are the people who voted for him.
But what I want to say is that I want them to campaign promising impeachment is off the table, and then if we can retake the Senate, I want them to immediately impeach him. Well, I guess we'd have to start proceedings in the House, but regardless, I mean, I want him impeached. I want him out of office. He's already committed impeachable offenses, but I want us to promise we won't do it, and then just go ahead and do it. And then when questioned, we simply say we didn't realize the depth of his corruption until we were able to investigate more fully.
Yeah, well, you're just engaged in flights of fancy here.
Oh, you mean Democrats would never do that?
Yeah.
That'd be bad optics. That'd be hypocritical of them. How could they? That would be not fulfilling the integrity of their campaign promises.
I know. Oh, God. Well, look, the thing is, every time we have this need to, look forward, oh, my God, what's going to happen? We can't help it that we do that, but the fact of the matter is none of us quite know, and we're just going to have to live through it, right?
Yeah, we're going to have to live through it. But I sure ain't conceding the midterms. You know, the Senate's one thing. We have to get back out there in the House, and little things help, like the Supreme Court decision regarding Wisconsin yesterday, where they threw out all of the jerry-rigging that they did and gerrymandering.
Well, that's
called blatantly unconstitutional.
Yeah, well, that was great because now that goes directly to the Supreme Court. So a federal panel of judges said Wisconsin illegally gerrymandered that state, rigged the state for the Republicans. That's essentially what that court said. They rigged the state. The thing that has not happened before is the Supreme Court has never agreed to acknowledge that kind of gerrymandering done for purely partisan purposes. The only time the court has gotten in and pushed back on gerrymandering, it's when it was racial. Right. So this now goes to this 8-person Supreme Court. They got to either do something remarkable and say, yep, that was done for the sole purpose of keeping Democrats from getting elected, and it's unconstitutional. And if, for some reason, it's Kennedy who's going to be the guy here, if they do that, that's going to open up a lot of possibilities in a lot of these states, including Pennsylvania, that have gerrymandered for partisan purposes, and it has worked. Democratic votes do not count as much in these states as Republican votes. Democrats invariably win popular votes, and then they don't get the seats that are supposed to come with them, including winning the presidency by 2 million votes and not getting the presidency. Something is rigged, all right, and it's not rigged in our favor. It's rigged in the Republicans' favor.
Right, and it really doesn't make sense that a voter in Idaho has a vote that's worth 7 times what a voter in California's vote is worth.
It's outrageous. All right, John, thanks. Keep hope alive, John. Keep hope alive, babe. Bye. And go take a Valium like Susan. How you feeling?
That said, that the Electoral College, I mean, if you look at the framers' words, it's to keep someone like Trump from taking office.
That's what it was for. I guess it didn't work too well.
No.
Yeah?
They haven't voted yet.
No, ain't gonna. He's getting in. So, we were hearing a lot about fake news, and fake news is propagated almost entirely by the right wing. Those are the guys who are doing it, and even neutral sources would say that is correct. The New York Times has a piece today on a restaurant in Washington. Did you happen to see this? Unbelievable.
No.
The restaurant's called, strangely, Comet Ping Pong. It's a pizza joint, but it's a very, I guess, nice one. And all of a sudden, the guy who owns this restaurant starts getting death threats. And so do some of his employees. He gets stuff, I'll kill you personally. He gets it on Facebook, via texts, on Twitter. And all of these things are alleging that Comet Ping Pong, his restaurant, was the home base of a child abuse ring led by Hillary Clinton and John Podesta. There are, Susan, if you go online, there are gazillions of made-up articles about Hillary Clinton kidnapping, molesting, and trafficking in children in this restaurant's back rooms, and the articles are on Facebook, on all over the place, and now his people are he's had people come into the restaurant and threaten them. Who believes this shit? Who believes it? It's called Pizzagate.
People don't want to.
It's called Pizzagate now. A new Reddit discussion thread called Pizzagate attracted immediately 20,000 contributors. Nobody understands. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And they can't stop it. They can't get a handle on it. There are these people who sit in dark little basements, white men, let's just make that clear, who sit and make this shit up and know how to disseminate it. These are people who probably, like Steve Bannon, they know how to use this stuff. And they know what gullible sheep are out there who will act on it.
Well, okay. I just did what you do.
You have a brain fart.
Yeah, it just went right by.
I gotcha. Henry says this: the more I think about it, the more I think your caller yesterday had it right. I do too. Trump's parent company has 515 subsidiaries. Almost all of them have the word Trump in the company name. His subsidiary companies feed off one another. So when Trump Real Estate needs a loan, they get the loan from Trump Mortgage, Inc. The United States is now a subsidiary of Trump's parent holding company. So when Trump Real Estate needs to buy protected government land, his now USA subsidiary will provide it. Just wondering if he'll change the name of the country so that Trump will be in our name. It is absolutely true. And all of this could have been reported on before the election.
Yeah, I mean, why?
I was squawking about it. We were squawking about it. Yeah.
Where were the stories about all the obvious stuff?
Well, because they weren't sexy and it looked like they were piling on Trump. And then he would tweet.
We were talking about Hillary Clinton's emails. We were following their storyline, and the media wasn't thinking for itself at all.
So what is that? The media really is in the pocket of the corporate
media
interests.
Is now in the is a business.
Total.
And
so they make money with Trump.
Where the profits are.
And the profits are with Trump because he knows how to draw crowds. We are fucked. Let's talk about menstrual cups.
boy, okay.
Well, I at first thought,
Are you going to collect and send to Vice President Pence?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, let's.
No, I think what we should all do for Pence's sake is do free bleeding. Do you know what that is?
What, just letting it flow?
Letting it flow. And I would never have even known of such a thing, but I read the science section today, Susan.
Good for you.
Uh-huh. And they're saying a lot of women are getting away from tampons and stuff, and they're doing the cup, which makes some sense, actually. First of all, a cup costs like $20. You use it for a year. You know how much you spend on tampons?
Well, and then you can get
120.
You can die from them. You can get, what is that, toxic shock syndrome?
Yeah, right. So the cup, and you only have to empty it like twice in 24 hours. Big friggin' deal. Okay? Sorry, guys, if you're getting queasy here. Listen to this. Now, free bleeding, I'm sorry, to me is like really...
It's a little disgusting. I mean, you put a Band-Aid on it.
It's gross. Yeah, I put a Band-Aid on it. A lot of luck with that. But listen to this.
But what I'm saying is if you had a cut on your finger, you would staunch it.
Yeah, you wouldn't just drip all over the place. So here, listen to this. By the way, this is one of the things I want to say about being an old lady. Man, do I love not having to deal with that.
Yeah, can I recommend a hysterectomy? They're great. Anyway, go
no,
ahead.
not surgery. Okay, so listen to this. Musician Kiran Gandhi. I don't know who that is. Anybody know who that is? She brought attention to the free bleeding movement when she crossed the finish line at the 2015 London Marathon. Okay, hang on, guys. In blood-stained leggings. Here's what happened. She had gotten her period the night before and decided that a tampon would be too uncomfortable to wear throughout the race. And she thought, well, what the heck? To quote the Rolling Stones, let it bleed. So this is what she said. I ran with blood dripping down my legs. God. For sisters who don't have access to tampons. Think about that. And sisters who, despite cramping and pain, hide it away and pretend like it doesn't exist. I ran to say it does exist, and we overcome it every day. Anyway, she didn't care. I love that she had the courage to do that, but I don't think it makes any sense to, like go to work and bleed all over everything.
Nah, I don't either.
No.
I mean, there's an element of comfort here.
So, Suze.
Yes, did we while away another hour?
Yeah, and are you cooking up a storm?
Well, I did all the grocery shopping yesterday.
Uh-huh.
I am cooking up a storm,
Ooh,
and we're looking forward to. If you will send me your flight information, I might even pick you up at the airport.
Oh my God! Well, then I shall.
Okay.
And is Mom driving in today?
Mom is driving in today.
The weather's okay?
The weather's okay. It's a nice cloudy but dry day,
okay.
So it's a good day to drive. And she's probably going to stop at Kohler and do a little shopping on her.
Oh, right. She told me she was going to stop and see if she could get her ring fixed.
Right.
Jesus. Okay. When'd she due in, later in the afternoon?
Probably, early.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'll let you know.
I'll double check it. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, you just text the Eagle has landed.
I'll text the Eagle has landed.
Okay. Thank you. Give that little kitten a kiss, but mostly give her.
I sent you a picture of him on your calendar.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, and thanks, guys.
Sorry. Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Hey, tomorrow, guys, we have a treat. We've got Liz Berlin from Rusted Root and Fat Man D, and I know Liz is bringing a guitar. Last I heard, and we don't have much room in here, but there'll be music. We're gonna sing our way right into Thanksgiving. Okay. Love ya. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.